This is Game Gen. They are with 4 or 5 regional centers. I'm very involved with them. They are a waiver provider, and they provide training and instruction on game design for computers, and probably 98% of everyone who's enrolled in their program has autism. And it's just really a remarkable program. And their deal is, how quickly can we get these people employed in designing games? They're called Game Gen. So this program provides individuals with developmental disabilities an opportunity to learn skills necessary to obtain employment in the electronic game design industry, though most of the individuals enrolled have autism. The program is for anyone who is interested. And these folks just do a great job, many of them. They really love doing what they're doing. Okay, here is a term. Please learn it, embrace it. It's really important. Work adjustment. If you're not familiar with the term, work adjustment is so significant. There are universities that have master's degree programs in work adjustment. Stout State University in Wisconsin has a work adjustment program. The people who go through these graduate programs predominantly are employed in rehabilitation settings. Though I'm going to go through these slides with you, work adjustment is focused on the collateral skills that someone needs in order to be successful in employment. I'm going to say that again. Work adjustment is training people who we support in the collateral skills that are essential for being successful in employment. So you talk to a manager of a McDonald's restaurant, and you say, hey, I see you have this gentleman there who has Down syndrome bussing tables. How's he doing? Well, Tom, you know, he's been here about 6 months, and he's the best busser we ever had. I mean, most of our bussers only can bus about 20 tables an hour. He busses 30-some tables an hour. He's great. 2 weeks later, he was fired. Why was he fired? Because people were complaining he'd go use the bathroom and not wash his hands when he left the bathroom. People were complaining that when he was bussing the tables, there'd be French fries left over, and he'd pick up the food and start eating it, including hamburgers that were not eaten. People were complaining that people would come in who he didn't know, they'd be sitting down eating and talking, and he'd come over to the conversation and interrupt them. Last week, he forgot to bring his uniform 2 times to work. Was he a good busser? The best there was. He lost his job because of the lack of work adjustment skills. Now, why is this important? We are now going to eliminate all ADL training. We're going to eliminate socialization training. We're going to eliminate motor skills training. All of those things are now going to be under the umbrella and rubric of work adjustment, not ADL training. Everybody got it? So do we want people to learn to wash their hands? Absolutely. If you volunteer at the Humane Society, you're supposed to wash your hands before you go to the next animal. You learn these work adjustment skills in the environment where they are to be exercised. Let's take a look at them. They're really important. The other neat thing about work adjustment, they transcend all environments. So though we're teaching work adjustment in the context of volunteering and employment, those skills are good everywhere. Courtesy is a work adjustment skills. Good morning, how are you? Have a nice day. Thank you, please. Well, where does that work? Everywhere, right? Following directions. Speaking softly. I mean, I don't even know why I'm listing these because it's an infinite set. Attention to task. Range of motion. Stamina, which is a really interesting concept. And I'm not sure whether we'll have an opportunity to get to stamina, so let me just talk about stamina. I am going to pretend here for a moment that there is a skill and a requirement. I have a task in front of me. You want to watch? Here's my task. My job is I have an intellectual disability, and my task is to put these sugars in this cup. I'm doing a packaging job. You ready? You got it? What's that about? What is that about? That's ridiculous. You watch that guy eat. He goes like this. You watch him eat. He may be fooling you, he ain't fooling me. So what you get is this ridiculous lethargy stuff, because no one's pushing him. When was the last time you saw somebody who you support sweat as a result of engaging in meaningful effort? And I'm not talking bowling and Special Olympics. When was the last time you saw them sweat as a result of engaging in meaningful effort? The people who we support need to put their back into it, work harder. You and I sweat, you mow your lawn, you sweat. You're washing a floor, you sweat. We don't expect the people we support to sweat, and you know why? Because you don't expect children to sweat. That's what I'm looking for. Put your back into it. Work harder. And when I'm on site and I'm seeing people in employment production settings, I'm doing staff. I said, push him harder. Come on, he can do better. They're so used to this, just moving like this. What is that? And I'm understanding, by the way, if it's a function of somebody's disability, you got cerebral palsy and I have contractions, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about that attitude where people don't expect more of the person. Here we go. Work adjustment is a vocational service provided to assist an individual in developing work skills. It's really important. No more socialization training, no more ADL, no more academic. It's all work adjustment. Teaching work habits, job retention skills required to obtain and maintain employment. It is a systematic program that assists participants in reaching their optimal level of vocational development by utilizing real work activity to aid participants in the following areas. Interpersonal skills, those are really important, right? Self-confidence, learning those array of skills, personal characteristics, work behavior, and attitudes essential for successful employment, understanding the value, demands, and meaning of work. Work, right? Maximizing one's effort in achieving productivity, knowing and utilizing proper worksite attire, that's important, demonstrating effective time management skills. This is a photo I've taken, facility-based, where folks come in the morning to the facility, which remember, we don't want, but since they do, they put a full-length mirror in the day program environment. When people come in, staff take them one by one, and they have to stand in front of the mirror and figure out what's wrong. Are all your buttons buttoned? Is your shirt collar up? Is your shirt out? Is one of your shoes untied? Did you miss a belt loop? I mean, most of our people, they come in, we don't give a damn how they come in. Your body's covered, that's it. We have got to deal with this, and we're not going to blame the families that send them there, looking like they just crawled out from under a rock. We're not going to blame the group home providers. We are going to deal with it because it's in our controllable column, the best that we can. This day program is making a concerted effort because it's a work adjustment issue. You got to look good at all cost. Before I leave the hotel every morning, I stand in front of the mirror. It's just part of my I have all these protocols that I engage in. And I look at myself, and I make sure that everything's okay so I'm not distracting other people. Is my zipper zipped up, as a matter of fact, right? Well, no, I'm serious. But many of our folks, they won't self-initiate that. They don't know that. But that's what we need to be teaching as a work adjustment skill. The use of a full-length mirror at the entrance exit is one aspect of the work adjustment curriculum. An essential component of the program is to instruct individuals in looking their best. It's critically important. The skills that maximize success in the workplace, again, courtesy, speaking softly, range of motion, eye contact, good hygiene, following directions, attention to tasks, team player, it's sort of a repeat, self-start or self-initiate, and stamina. That's a good word, stamina. These skills transcend environments. So why is there hesitancy in pushing people to get them to do the job? And these are the kind of responses that have been shared with me. Well, his parents will get upset if he goes home and says that we pushed him too hard. His parents will get upset and they'll call. Or we're concerned about medical issues. You know, we may throw him into a seizure or something. Or he may get upset. He's going to have a behavior. I love that. What is a behavior? You know? Or we're risk intolerant because, you know, he may be doing it and trying too hard and then fall or something. All of these things are legitimate. They're real. That's not the reason why we shouldn't push the person. We need to figure out how to address them and deal with this reality and still raise the bar and have them work harder and put their back into it and do their best. Support people with developmental disabilities and giving it their all, working harder, increasing endurance, exceeding their expectations, pushing themselves, work hardening so that people can, what's the best way to describe it, can deal with the stress of work. There's work hardening that is psychological work hardening, and there's work hardening that just physically I have to have the endurance to get the job done. The appearance of fatigue is a significant concern in supporting individuals with IDD to achieve production quotas or increase their productivity over time. And there's a lot of legitimate reasons why many of the people who we support have a degree of lethargy and can't really put their back into it. And I want to take a look at those. I'm going to separate out the fact that we may have low expectations for some people and they don't understand themselves that they need to be doing their very best. And then we have a list of reasons that actually contribute to why people can't be as productive as they otherwise might be. So there are a variety of factors that may result in an individual's diminished production. And by the way, excuse that, it's corrupted. I see that. Lack of sleep. Some of the people we support are just up half the night. It may be because they have a housemate or a roommate that is screaming. It may be who knows why, but they just can't sleep and they come in and they're exhausted. Medication side effects can be a big issue for many people. Medical conditions such as hyperactive thyroid, iron deficiency anemia, diabetic neuropathy, pain, seizures. Again, all legitimate, but then you got to, let's see if we can address them, deal with them. Cognitive processing challenges such as hyperactivity, people who have sensory issues and can't deal with the light. This is like a searchlight in my eyes, or even mild noise levels, like to that person, it's like somebody taking a megaphone and screaming in their ear, right? Not motivated or incented to produce. That's really under our control. Psychiatric illness, people actively hallucinating or just craziness going on in their head. Boredom. Make no assumptions. We need to assess and evaluate all of these items and see what we can do to address them. People come in and they're exhausted, then we need some kind of conversation with wherever they reside. Otherwise, they're never going to get employed. You know, they're so tired they can't do the job. So work hardening, perhaps one of the most common causes of the appearance of work lethargy, is that the individual does not comprehend that they are expected to exert maximum effort. And that's the one that we can really deal with. The lack of their own expectations is likely a function that others have never expected more of them or raised the performance bar. Limited work adjustment skills, the most common cause of job loss. Ignoring the supervisor's direction, leaving a assigned work area, people just walk it off. Attending to distractions, being disruptive, failing to follow safety rules, lacking endurance, poor hygiene and dress, but they can do the task. This shouldn't have been repeated, and it is. Oh, this is one I just got to share with you. Did I share this morning about how proud I was? I thought I did, didn't I? Did I talk about simulated work? Oh my God, what? I thought I did. I said, gee, many crickets. I mean, we would have people, remember, take pieces of paper and fold them and stuff them in envelopes, and then we would take it to the back group, and they would take the paper out. Yeah. And in the context, again, of when we do these things, we do them because we think it's the right thing to do, because it's better than what we had been doing. I understand that. But simulated work is meaningless. And doing one work in their presence is devaluing. And it never crossed my mind until I realized, and some of you have been with me before, know that everything I do is based upon this concept. And I probably should have spent more time on this concept today, but it guides all of this. And here's the concept. Jim. Got it? Yep. That's it. You do that. That's where this comes from. How do I want to be treated? And yeah, we're all unique people. And our expectations and our life experiences vary tremendously between all of us. But we all have something in common. We all want to be treated with dignity and respect. And the way many of the programs are now structured, it's not dignity and respect. So we got to use Jim. Because Jim, do you recall I put up there that hyphenated word this morning, D-I-S-E-A-S-E? Do you remember that? Dis-ease. That's the role of Jim. So that when I look at the person, I don't see them, I see me. That's me. That's me who has to sit there all day putting pegs in a pegboard and engaged in body rocking because I don't have anything meaningful. Well, that should cause me a sense of dis-ease, which is the motivating factor to try to do the right thing. Undoing one's work behind their back is dishonest. So doing it in front of them is demoralizing. Doing it behind their back is dishonest. You want to do simulated work. Now, I don't know you folks very well, but I know you well enough that you all like F words, right? You guys like F words? Yeah, I can tell you, you people are into vulgarity. So what I want to do is I'd like to share some F words with you. These F words come from Dr. Lou Brown. Do you remember who he is? The father of supported employment. And here are the F words. Anybody familiar with the F words? Anybody know the F words? No one knows? God, here we go, guys. I'll just let this come up by itself. Now, why are those the F words? Because Dr. Brown says those are the areas most commonly where people are employed who have a developmental disability. Fetching, folding, filth, flowers, and so forth. And his point is, we've got to think outside of just these F words. How can we give people opportunities that go beyond that? And again, you know, there was a point that we were thrilled with the F words because it was better than people not working at all. Hey, at least he's washing dishes, he's doing something. But now we got to take it to the next level. And work enclaves, these are just some different kind, if you're not familiar with it, of work situations.
You said 420, right?
425.
Oh, fine.
That's okay, yeah, it's fine. So work enclave is where we have a group of people in a much larger environment who are engaged in employment. So you might go to a large office complex and they have a mail room, and in the mail room there are 5 people, there may be 1 job coach or 4 people, and they are sorting mail, maybe doing photocopying and so forth. It's called a work enclave. What does APSE think about that, guys? What's APSE say? Come on, guys. Is there anybody who was here this morning? I need somebody who was in this room this morning. Don't you remember APSE? What happened to APSE?
They don't like it.
They don't like it.
They don't like
Yeah, because you're not fully integrated. But if I can't get you a job fully integrated, am I going to take a work enclave? You better believe I'll take a work enclave because it's better than nothing. So these work enclaves, and there's many. I mean, there's another example of a sort of a work enclave is that many of the metropolitan transportation systems that have buses, those buses are cleaned by people through various provider agencies, and they go onto the buses and they clean the buses, and it's sort of like an enclave. Enclave mobile work crew, almost, right? Because you had to go from bus to bus, but sort of like an enclave. The enclave is a small group of no less than 2 and no more than 8 people with disabilities who are employed in an individual office, et cetera, setting and managed by a trained supervisor. And it'd be great if we don't have a job coach and we use generic, when you get that word too, G-E-N-E-R-I-C, generic supports, coming from the word general support, which would be the supervisor, People with disabilities work alongside others doing the same work, sometimes. Limited work abilities and conduct needs may require that workers be situated in proximity to each other, thus enhancing training or supervision. I was at a site, and it was a company, a manufacturing operation in Los Angeles that was producing DVDs and CDs. They have these big machines that come down and stamp these things, and they come through a conveyor belt, and then they're inspected. They have to be put in plastic cases, and all the cases go in boxes. Well, the agency where I was coaching, the assembly line probably had 75 people on it, huge assembly line. And here were 4 people with developmental disabilities all together on the line with one job coach. So it was sort of like an enclave. They were around other people. But what I thought was very interesting, when it was time for lunch and the line would stop, guess what would happen? Where would they eat lunch? They would all go off in a corner with their job coach and eat lunch. The job coach did not understand. Well, that's my job, is to say, hey, guys, don't do that. Let's see if we can get one over here and one over here. Let's try to get these people as integrated as possible, because that lunch and break time is a really important time. But that takes skills on behalf of the job coach to make that happen, right? Agency-sponsored businesses. This is another one. This is one of my favorite agencies, ILC, Integrated Life Choices. They are in Colorado, Texas, and Nebraska. And they start a lot of their own businesses. This is their 17th Street candle operation. It is a store. The people who man the store have developmental disabilities, and they also manufacture and produce the candles. It's really a great operation. People come in, and what's nice, you commonly cannot figure out who's providing the support versus who's receiving it. You got that one? Yeah. That's what you want. You don't want to be able to see who's providing, so that you can't wear that shirt. It's okay to wear it here, but if you're doing job coaching, you can't wear that. You can't do you can't have ID around your neck from your agency. You can hear it Kern if you're a staff, but when you're out in public, how would my wife feel, who receives support, if she received it from a home health care agency and they go out to lunch, because my wife will commonly go out to lunch with her support staff, and the staff was wearing a smock, those smocks with a tag on it, and they going, oh gosh. As challenged as my wife is, she would be mortified. So you want to be there as an equal, no discerning kind of demarcation. And here, it's hard to tell who's providing the support versus who's receiving it, and I won't tell you. ILC also leases 10 acres of farmland, and they have individuals who have very tarnished reputation. They have 10 acres, and folks produce corn and tomatoes, and they go to a farmer's market and sell their wares. They sell everything that they produce. And they job carve. See the guy up here in the coat? He's very challenged in terms of his skill level, and all he does is take seeds and drop them into this thing. Ideally, it would be great if he could then take them when they grow, take them out, dig a hole, plant them. He's not there. So we have to job carve this thing for him. Now I'm going to leave you with my mantra. Are you all ready? Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is your best. Thank you. You did great, guys. Yes.